So a little fancier today. Just thinking about cyborgs, obsession with AI, things like that. And just wanted to shine some light on what is currently going on in a patriarchal society. And it's the obsession to make something better than God. So the Pygmalian myth is about a man who was an amazing sculptor, and he loved sculpting, but he loathed women. No women were ever good enough for him. They were never, ever good enough. So one day he sculpted this beautiful woman, and like a doll, he bought her clothing, he bought her jewelry, he put her to bed, he washed her, he did all these things with her. But every day he was sad because she wasn't actually a woman, and she was this sculpture and this blow-up doll, essentially, of the perfect woman. Then one day he goes to the temple of Aphrodite and he prays that this perfect woman will come to life. And he is blessed, and when he gets home and he kisses this sculpture of his, she comes to life, there's warmth in her lips, and she becomes this beautiful woman. And then she becomes one of the high status families, the citizens of Athens. So ancient Greeks, beginning of patriarchy, and then this is how one of the families came about, from the perfect woman who wasn't soiled by any of the gods' imperfections. So then we see that same kind of mythos going on in Pretty Woman. And it's that idea that man can shape a woman to be the perfect woman for himself. And so we are in this strange paradigm right now where man is attempting to do better than God. And we see a lot of desire to create AI. And then there's the conversation of what constitutes a soul. When does a soul come into play? And then when do human rights come into play? So the desire for AI is to actually just have slaves because slavery wasn't allowed. And so then they're trying to figure out how to make an AI. But then they're having this complicated matter of like, what is a soul? And can a machine have a soul? And if a machine has a soul and it actually thinks, does it have rights as a human? And then we get all this weird outstretched apocalyptic theory around things like this. They have created a baby AI that when was playing with other toddlers, it picks up. They're developing software that like has the chaos theory, because that's how our brains work. They don't work in a distinct 4+4 pattern. It's a very erratic chaos theory pattern. So they've been trying to figure out how to make artificial intelligence have that kind of response and actually learn, intake, and then make process of solving a problem, because that's the tricky thing, right? And part of it is like a desire so that it removes the human emotion from it, but then that also becomes an issue. But they've created a baby AI toddler that when was playing with the toddlers and then was getting taken away, it acted like the other toddlers, where it got upset and it cried and it reached out and it got upset that it was going to be turned off and put in the closet. So these kind of things, is this just a learned behavior from the computer interacting with toddlers and understanding what the toddlers are doing, so then it's mirroring it back? Or is this the beginning of the making of a soul? And really, what constitutes a soul to be present in a body, in a life, in a being? And then there's those arguments that animals don't have souls, but then there's people that know that they have souls, like myself, and that the incarnation is multi-layered and not just a human gift, so to say. And like that plants have a consciousness, so on and so forth. So we have a lot of interesting things going on at this time, but one of the things to know of is that Pygmalian myth that is really running rampant at large in our current culture around the desire to make the perfect enslaved woman so better than God. Any which way, just a thought for the day. Take good care.